So I didn't get a 36 on the ACT exam, I got a 34. But I've tutored many students who have got 35s and 36s on the test, and I'm here today to tell you exactly what I helped those students do, what I told those students not to do, and how you can implement the same strategies and study plan regardless of what your situation is, most likely. Hey guys, welcome back to another 5 Academy video. My name is Shaheer, I am a tutor here, and I have tutored lots of students. Probably hundreds, if not thousands at this point, and through my experiences with tutoring students, as well as my own prep experiences, I make these videos to help students figure out what's the best plan of action for them. Now, some of you might want a 36 on the ACT exam, and that's a great goal to have. I think if you aim really high, you're gonna achieve really high. But there are definitely some misconceptions that I originally had when I set out for a 36 on the test, and I think you might have as well, that you should keep in mind and try to correct before you start embarking on the path to studying. And if you're already on that path to studying, maybe there's a few things you could be doing a bit better to improve a bit faster and really score higher. So what are the things? We'll talk about it. Before we get started, be sure to check out our website down below. We have free prep content, free tutoring you can also access with tutors that have scored not 36s but 35s, so sorry. And you can also get access to our courses there. They are paid, but if you're interested in getting tutoring from me or one of our tutors, or if you want online problems and practice exams, be sure to check that out. Again, there's free content there. So what's the first step to improving to a 36? The first thing you need to keep in mind is that it's something that takes time. If you look at the data, the top 1% of students are able to score 33 through 36. That means that the 36 scorers are the top of the top 1%. So it's something that takes practice and it takes work. Now I know that students that have access to more prep resources and financial resources are going to be able to score higher because of access to those resources. I understand that that is going to inflate some of the data, but my point is it's hard to score 36. So if you're thinking that it's something you can do in 1 month or 2 months or 3 months, if you haven't touched the ACT exam before, good luck. Most of the students that I've seen get 35s and 36s, they've started prepping really early on, maybe their freshman, sophomore years, and they ended up getting that score later on in their junior or senior years. That's because when you give yourself exposure to the exam and its content very early on, in your sophomore year, for example, and then you focus on the content even a little bit over the course of the next 12 to 18 months, you will learn content in your classes and you'll notice exactly how it fits into the exam. This is especially true for English and math. As for reading and science, as you practice more and more over a large amount of time, you'll get more familiar with the patterns of the test and you'll just get better and faster as a reader. Your comprehension skills will naturally improve. So again, keep that in mind. If you're someone that's a freshman or sophomore, don't expect to get the score while you're still a freshman or sophomore. It's totally okay and it's totally normal to get that score later on in your junior year or even the September of your senior year. That's probably the most common place where I've seen people, including myself, get their highest scores. Second thing, so the ACT exam has a set list of skills that you'll see just about every time, especially for English and math. For reading and science, there's a set list of question types. You need to become very familiar with the question types and skills and understand how to approach each of them. You need to know the formulas and rules associated with each of them as well. English has about 25 skills, math has about 50 to 60, reading has about 20, science has about 30 to 40. I didn't just make those up. These are from the official ACT Prep Guide's list of skills. The way that you actually learn the skills is you look at your practice exams, you analyze the mistakes, try to understand why you got it wrong, identify the skill, and then use a resource. This is the key step. Use a resource that actually teaches you the skills. Lots of students use books. We have a website that helps students with this as well if you want to learn each skill one by one. But the point is that you need to learn content that is exactly like the actual test. And ACT courses can help you with that. Your classes like pre-calculus, algebra 2, your AP language class can help you with that as well. But if you're in a situation where your school kind of sucks, your teachers kind of suck, then you might have a hard time with that. I made a video a couple years ago about which books I recommend you use if you want to improve your score as fast as possible and learn the content. So I'll link that on a card. If I don't, please send a comment and I will remember to do that. If you're not that big of a fan of books and you want something a bit more engaging and personalized and interactive, you can check out our website. We have some free content with free tutoring. And like I said, we also have access to online problems and videos for each of the individual skills on the exam. This allows you to do exactly what I just said, learn each of the skills one by one, so you become very familiar with them through repetitive practice. Kind of like Khan Academy, except for the ACT instead of AP or SAT classes. Another thing you need to keep in mind is that your timing has to be on point. If your timing isn't on point, what's gonna happen is you're not gonna answer every question as fairly as you should. You're gonna be answering some questions with way too much time and some you just won't have time for. And that's not a formula that's going to work. Every question needs to be given an even opportunity to answer correctly. Otherwise, you're gonna end up in situations where you're guessing, and if you're guessing, you're only gonna get 20 to 25% of those questions right. If you wanna know which timing methods are the best and what we recommend, check out some of our videos. There are some sections where you might be able to actually use a variety of different methods and still have an opportunity to answer every question evenly and fairly. But usually the best method for timing is to just split it up evenly except for the science. We have a video where we go over 3 methods for timing on science. You should check that out. The next thing, you need to practice the heck out of the exam. I typically recommend that every student that takes the test practices 8 to 12 times before their test date, usually once a week. Maybe even a little less if you can spread that out. I studied mostly during the summer between my sophomore and junior year, and I took 2 sections a week for the entire summer. That's it, 2 sections. So it's about 1 to 2 hours of work per week, plus maybe 1 to 2 hours of grading and review. That's all I did, and I did that for the entire summer, practiced a bit during my junior year, took the ACT 4 or 5 times, and by the time it was the September of my senior year, I had a 34 super score. But the point is, over that long period of time, I got a lot of practice in, and you need to do the same thing. If you're someone that's sitting here and 8 to 12 practice exams seems a lot for the time frame that you have, then it probably is a lot for the time frame that you have. But if you're someone that's a bit younger, if you have a year, then great, that's doable. If you have 6 months, that's still doable. 3 months and less is where it becomes a little harder. And you can do the amount of work. You can do 8 to 12 practice exams in 2 to 3 months, but you're not going to see that improvement, which typically comes with long-term investment into the ACT exam. As for where to get practice exams, I always recommend the official ACT prep guide. I'll put a link for it down below. You can access it. There's a 2023 version. I don't typically recommend third-party practice exams because they're just not as accurate and relevant to the actual test compared to the actual official practice test made by the official writers of the test. There's also a PDF linked on our website. You can access it. It's linked down below and it's free. Last thing I'll go over is some strategies in regards to how you approach the reading and science test. So I've noticed that a lot of students that score very, very high in the test, they fit into one of 2 buckets on reading and science. They either approach the passage first and then go to the questions, or they approach the questions first and then go to the passage. Again, this is specifically for reading and science. I want you to experiment with both methods and see what works better for you. Maybe even a hybrid of the 2 methods works, where you look at the questions maybe for 30 seconds and then you read the whole passage and then you actually go ahead and answer all the questions. Something like that. But the point is, you need to experiment with methods, such as those timing methods I told you about for science, such as this method I just told you about for questions or passage first. And you need to see what works better for you. This is one of those things where I think students that get a 36 are very much so either very for one method or very against it. And you need to find what that is for you. If you find a strategy not working, you're probably doing something wrong. Either the strategy is not right for you and you need to pick a different one, you're not understanding the content of the exam, or there might be something else wrong with your approach. And if you're in that situation and you don't really know what's wrong with your approach and you're plateauing and you are almost at your goal, or maybe you're not even anywhere close, I recommend you schedule a free tutoring session with one of our expert tutors. What we'll do is we'll walk you through kind of some of the main strategies that you can implement in terms of whatever you're struggling with. If you're struggling with timing on science, or with a particular passage type on reading, or with the geometry questions on math, we'll provide you with advice, study plan, and resources to actually improve in those particular areas through a 15-minute brief session that you have with an expert tutor who has scored at least a 34 on the exam. Again, I'm the one bringing it down because I have a 34. The other tutors have a 35. We've had hundreds of students sign up for our free tutoring sessions, and you can too. You can even probably schedule one later today or tomorrow. So check it out. It's linked down below on our website, and it's 100% free. And that's it for this video. I hope this was helpful, and be sure to like, subscribe, comment. It helps us make more free content for you guys and reach more people so that we can make more free content for you guys and reach more people and just do the same, That's it. I'll see you next week.